Welcome to Scrubs Unzipped podcast, unveiling healthcare's hidden passions. And today I have a special guest with me. I know that everyone uses the internet in healthcare. We have our own profiles on social media. So I felt like this guest would be perfect. And I'll let you introduce yourself so that you can tell our audience what you do, and we'll get started.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be on here, especially discussing something that's so important to me. My name is Aria, and I am a cybersecurity professional. I do SOC, which is Security Operations Center Analyst. So I like to analyze and detect vulnerabilities and weaknesses in organizations' security infrastructures. So yeah.
Oh, wow. That sounds very interesting. How
Thank you
did
for
you
saying.
first how did you first become involved in cybersecurity? What fuels your passion for it?
So I've always just been interested in tech, period. My dad is a computer analyst, programmer, and architect. So he's been in computers for like over 40 something years. He created like the
Wow.
first programming for Bank of America. What is it? The ATMs for Bank of America. And so that's kind of always been my background. IT has just kind of been my background. It's something that I just grew up seeing a lot. And I'm also a kinesthetic learner. So I learn by just like taking things apart and doing things. And so my mom would always, when I was a kid, my mom would always have me hook up all the electronics just because I would just do it kind of intuitively. And so I just took up electronics and I just had so much fun, like taking things apart, even like the vacuum or something and fixing it. And I never had any training on it. So before I wanted to go into like hardware, um,
Mhm.
but then my mom was just kind of more telling me about the cyber side of things. And because I like to do a lot of research, I like to analyze, I like to get to the bottom of things. She thought that would be a great place for me to study. And that really is. There's like so much to learn. It's never ending as far as like the education. There's just always something new to learn and to sharpen like your skills. And so that's something that I feel like I can continue to like, it'll hold my interest for a very long time. Cause I tend to get bored. So cybersecurity is very, there's a lot of steps and it's very tedious. So it's a great place for me to like dive in and then just explore and dissect a lot of things. And it's encouraged for me to analyze because people don't really like me to analyze them so much. So it's a healthy place for
So
me
you
to
analyze
analyze. But yeah.
so you analyze the software instead of people. I get you. I got it. So what are the common
Yeah.
misconceptions?
It's like a healthy way for me to go down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
It's okay. What are the common
There's like a delay.
misconceptions? I know this. I gotta work on that. So, what are the common misconceptions you noticed people have about Social Security, particularly in the healthcare sector?
I think just overall in general, people assume that cybersecurity is specifically like hacking and like fighting cyber crimes. And I think that's what people think of, like the person in the dark basement on the computer all alone, like digging and searching and like, controlling different things like remotely. But a lot of it is just a lot of it is risk. There's a lot of cyber laws and security laws, and I think that people really aren't as aware of like the legal side of things, and so just of like being in compliance in the healthcare sector and like managing people's private data, like all of that is part of cybersecurity and how you store like patient data, like whether it's on the cloud or whether it's off-site or on a warm site. How you store it is all still part of cybersecurity because it is still using like electronics. So yeah.
Hmm. So, from a cyber criminal's perspective, why might patient data be considered so valuable?
So user data or just patient data. So there's two parts. So as a healthcare worker, your information is valuable, and then from like a patient standpoint, that information is valuable as well. So are you speaking more from like a healthcare professional or the patient data?
Do both.
Okay, so for a healthcare professional, like it's very important to protect themselves because a lot of cyber crimes is to get like user or healthcare professional credentials, like login information, passwords, so that way they can get to personal data as far as like patient data, health records, things like that. A lot of it's like the date of birth, social security numbers. That's really what cyber criminals are after. So if they can get it through a through a healthcare professional, they'll go that way and they can get a lot of information. It's probably a little bit easier for them to go through a healthcare professional and getting their credentials, their login credentials, than it is for them to just break in and get all the data, patient data. So a
Mm,
lot of attacks can be prevented by the users. So like employee training, user training, and I say user, but I'll say healthcare professional training. A lot of things can be prevented. A lot of cyber crimes
mm,
just by making sure healthcare professionals are aware of the risk and how they can just easily mitigate some of those risks just by not clicking on certain emails, um, not posting a lot of things online, um, just making sure they're always using like a secure site like VPNs, which is a virtual private network, using something like that while they're on their phone, while they're browsing, prevent cyber attacks, especially while they're at work. So
mm.
it blocks cyber criminals from infiltrating the network. But the healthcare professionals are using when they're on their tablet or whether they're on their phones. There's a long answer.
Wow. That is such an in-depth answer because we use our phones all the time, and in the hospital we have like specific hospital phones, hospital devices that are supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be secure, more secure than our personal phones. So is there any tips you have for institutions who need to keep their data safe from cyber attacks?
Yeah, so really there's a few things and it's not necessarily as expensive as I think some organizations believe it to be because like cyber security and security protocols is like there's like not a large budget for it. So
Mm,
just for that alone, putting more budget, investing more into their cybersecurity, like infrastructure, protocols, compliance, and a lot of it is just having somebody to monitor the network. Like, but it costs a lot of money to have somebody constantly analyzing the network and monitoring it 24/7. So sometimes organizations do not want to invest in that because it's like, well, there's not a data breach, so we don't really need anybody to monitor it. But that's the thing. It's not a matter of if there's going to be a data breach, it's a matter of when.
when
And so for healthcare organizations, how they can like improve their security posture is really to increase like visibility. So to have like deterrence. So like physical security controls, which would be like a deterrent security guards. That's something right there because cyber crimes is not just on the network, it's also people coming in to impersonate someone else, like a third party vendor,
mm,
just so they can get access to the actual on site network as well. So they can impersonate themselves. So if they're just able to walk in any hospital, they can impersonate like I said, a vendor. It's like they say like, oh, I'm from I don't know Comcast, and I'm here to fix your network. And they can have a little
mm,
badge, and if there's no one like a physical security officer there to prevent them, then they could just walk right in. So
mm,
even just that right there, having cameras and monitoring who's actually on site as well, really helps. Having making sure people sign in when they visit, like third party vendors. making sure that they sign in, like verifying their badge and everything, and that the company actually scheduled for someone to come in, because sometimes it could be a real company, but if you don't have it actually scheduled on the calendar, those people, like the threat actors is what they call them, but the cyber criminals can come in and just like, oh, so and so has a like service order for this and this and this date, but they'll just come on the wrong date. So it still
Mm.
looks like it's legit, but there's so many different nuances of how to cover it up that people just really, it comes down to user training, which is like healthcare professional training to make sure, like, to know, hey, is this person legit? To verify information, verify their credentials. And so that's part of like third party security. Another one is to expand cyber threat awareness. So really, just having a cyber health professionals not clicking on certain emails. And I know that sounds so easy. It's like we all know what a phishing scam looks like. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, you've won $100. Click here to claim your prize. And that's sometimes that's like the furthest thing from the truth. That's like the easy ones. A lot of times, like these cyber professionals, you got to understand that they do this 24/7. Like this is their
Mhm.
craft, to make it as, to deceive people as best as they can. So it's going to look legit. It's going to look like, hey, this email came from my job, or it came from my, my manager or supervisor. Or, let me click this. It's saying, I got an email saying that I didn't log in. Oh, let me go ahead and log in real quick and fix my timesheet. And then there it is. You'll click on the link and it'll send you to like a fake site, but it looks real. It's like a decoy site. And it'll have you log in your credentials. And you're thinking that you're logging in to verify information with your job. And really, it's a decoy site. So that way they can get your user credentials and login credentials. So
Wow.
that's kind of a little bit of
Wow, that is, scary. That is kinda scary. So, what can
it
I don't know if
is.
you like, I want you to
Mm-hmm.
re-educate, like, healthcare professionals because you said earlier, like, don't post too much and stuff like that. So, what can a healthcare professional do, like,
Yeah,
who has, like, a social media presence, keep their account secure?
I would I would say, um, so like for me personally, I don't like social media. I won't go as far as saying I hate social media, but there's so much risk involved in social media.
Mhm.
And people want to post everything, their whole entire lives. And there people are always talking about, oh, Big Brother is watching. There's always somebody watching, kind of like what you're doing behind the scenes online. I wouldn't say watching, but monitoring. And now, like Big Brother really doesn't have to do a lot of monitoring because people post so much online. And
True.
so it's like we don't always have to do a lot of digging, because
Mm,
people just post it like oh, I'm going to such and such today. Oh, at work, I'm doing this or that, or taking a selfie at work, and there could be confidential information like behind them, as far as like maybe it's like a computer and they have an email pulled up and it'll be confidential email, like a confidential email and information on there. And they could take a selfie, and then that information is now posted online just like that. And so
wow.
for somebody who is looking to create like looking for cyber crimes, they're going to analyze the background of the pictures that people are posting. So if they're posting at work, taking pictures, I would discourage it, to be honest, because it
Mm,
could be something very small in the background that they're not going to think of, but to a cyber criminal, that's like key information. Also, geotagging, which is like tagging their location, that's huge because people can track you. Don't do
mm,
that. Like if
mm,
you want to say like you visited this restaurant, do it after you've already left, but don't do it
mm,
like right then and there in the middle of where you like, oh, I'm at this restaurant, I'm eating this food, so and so is with me, and then you tag your friend who they're also being tagged and tagged and tagged, and so you're getting attached and associated to different people that you may not have intended for them to see your platform at all. And so geotagging, it's in all of our pictures. You can actually disable it on your cell phones if you want to, like especially with Apple. I have an iPhone, but you can disable geotagging. But geotagging has a lot of your information. It connects the coordinates of your picture. So like,
Wow.
yeah, so it could be like northwest something, and then crossing with the east coordinates, and it shows exactly where you are. So you don't even have to have like people always watching you. You can pull up that
Mhm.
information from a photo. A cyber criminal can in any photo. Like it's just there. The information is just hidden behind the photos. So I would
Wow.
just. So there's a lot to it. Like for me, this is all exciting because I get to talk about it. But there are easy ways to prevent getting hacked or just getting like someone just finding out personal information, but you just have to really increase user awareness. And I would say, like, if you're like for me on my phone, like I don't allow locations. So something will be like, oh, I'm looking up, say something on Target, like it'll post, like it'll pop up, send location, share location. I press no. So I even like disable all the locations on my phone from my apps because in the like you may be saying, okay, I want to find Chick-fil-A. So you allow Chick-fil-A, you're in the app for Chick-fil-A, you allow them to get your location, you share your location. And this is just hypothetically speaking, it's no relation to actual Chick-fil-A. But you share your location with them, and then just so you can find a Chick-fil-A that's close by, you put your phone down, and you're no longer thinking about sharing your information with them anymore. You're on to something else. You're back at work. Well, that GPS and that sharing is still going. It's still rendering in the
Mm.
background. So as long as you have certain applications rendering in the background, that person is always going to be susceptible to any type of cyber threat if someone wants to look that hard.
Wow.
Also, disabling, yeah, just also disabling like your Bluetooth. So there's ways that cyber criminals can like kind of hijack your tablet, your devices. So what we call is Internet of Things. So that's like internet devices. So whether it's a tablet, a smartphone, like a Fitbit, um, even like your Alexa. It could be any type of smart device, doorbell, ring camera kind of thing. But when you got to really watch your Bluetooth sharing because people can infiltrate your Bluetooth, and that's called like blue snarking or blue jacking or Bluetooth hijacking, and they can take over people's personal devices as well to gain information. So I would say never keep like work information on your phone, on your personal phone. I would just say always keep it everything separate. Oh,
That's
and
my alarm.
no, it's okay. And I would also advise for like for professionals when you do bring your personal device into work, do not log on into their network. I never log on to like a network when I go to when I am working on site. Like now I work from home, so it's a bit different, but I don't log into the network when I get to work. One, because that also allows the organization to be able to, it legally allows them to monitor what I'm doing on my personal device once I log into their network. So, there's usually some kind of terms and
Yes,
agreement
I can
of
see
when you're
that.
logging into someone's network. And I say network, but like Wi Fi or a hotspot or something. And there's always a user, like there's a term in conditions or term and agreement, and you press like I agree, just so you can get access to, Wi Fi. Well, when you click I agree, there's a lot of things you're not reading. And
Mm.
that part in there, the terms and agreement, there's like a law in there where the organization can use the information that you get from your phone if you use their network or if you use their Wi-Fi. So I don't use certain people's Wi-Fi because I don't want to allow them to have access to my information on my personal devices.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is so enlightening because there's so many things that we don't realize that we need to be
Mm-hmm.
aware of. So I want to ask you, how do you balance
Yeah.
like your passions and also your work? Like how do you balance that? Or is your passion your work? Are they both in this one and the same?
I I think that's a great question. I feel like it's becoming one and the same now. Before I'm a person that compartmentalizes. I think I said that right. I talk so fast, sometimes my words get a little scrambled.
Compartmentalize.
But thank you. Um, so I have something here. I'll have like work here, personal here in my mind. I need to do this, like cooking, dinner, friends. I have everything separated, and a lot of times people don't necessarily know, like in my personal life, maybe they don't know so much about my cybersecurity like passions, or people in my professional life don't really know too much about my private passions. And now I'm kind of working on blending the two together, and just allowing people to see that, especially Black women, we come in all shapes and sizes and backgrounds, that you don't have to like necessarily fit the stereotype and mold of what a professional is, or what a technology professional is, cyber professional is, as far as being a Black woman and a cyber professional. And then, so how I balance that, I have like a lot of alarms on my phone. I also, and this may sound extreme, but it was what helps me. I like disable notifications. So I disable like notifications from, let's say like Instagram or Facebook or any type of social media. I don't have any notifications that pop on my phone, because I want to make sure when I am like present with friends and family, that I am present with them. I'm not getting distracted by what's on my phone. So I'm not like, oh, somebody commented on a post I made. Let me go check that in the middle of a conversation, or in the middle of dinner or something like that. And also, I just believe in boundaries. So after a certain time, like after work, I'm done with work. I'm not bringing work back into like my personal life, and I'm going to move on from that. So I just really believe in giving yourself a cutoff time, especially if you work from home and or are salary. You have to give yourself a personal, like 9 to 5 type of schedule. And then also, what it helps is that I have a child. So I have a teenage daughter, and
Oh.
like her little schedule is so demanding that I can't even try to blend cybercrime and PTA meetings or something like that, you know? So being a mom forces me to have to put down the cyber fighting and pick up something that's like my daughter's interested in, or just making dinner or something. But even when I'm making dinner, sometimes I'll have a podcast playing on my iPad, like while I'm on the stove. So that way I'm kind of like doing two things at once. And I don't feel guilty for like not being present with my daughter because I'm cooking dinner, but I'm like low key listening to a podcast or something,
Mhm.
you know. But when it's dinner time, I put the devices away. I put the devices away, and I just make sure that I've like, for this time period, but if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, we're gonna have some fun together. And I think also for me, it's like making sure I manage self care. I'm making time for self care, whether it's doing my nails or whether it's just lighting a candle sometimes at the end of the day, and just centering my thoughts and just seeking balance like within and spiritually as well. Okay. I know
Wow.
my questions are, or my answers are kind of long winded.
Those are some good answers because sometimes we bring work at home and you just saying how
Mm-hmm.
you disable notifications because we are constantly connected, but when we are in front of someone face to face we're like disconnected and distracted. So that is,
Mm-hmm.
I will actually take up that advice because I have notifications popping up all the time. And it is
Right. It can be like
distracting.
all the time.
Mhm.
It is. So, like I said before, I think we got actually recording. I was like, or maybe we were, but I was like, yeah, I don't have my phone. I have it on Do Not Disturb all the
Yeah.
time because I
Yeah.
don't want to be distracted. And I would
Mhm.
like, I have ADHD, and I was diagnosed with that in early 2022, so early last year. And
Mhm.
I have to really manage my focus. And so part of that is not having notifications pop up on my phone, or not having calls come through that are just not important at that moment. And so I just really have to practice like focus and being intentional. And so those are some of the ways that I implement them. And I also put like I schedule kind of like I give myself about maybe like 3 hours of social media like a day, and my phone will be like, oh, you have 15 minutes left for your day.
Mm,
And that's telling me like, okay, I have been on my phone way too long, especially if I use that up like early in the morning or something, just scrolling and scrolling. And so
mhm.
I have different things or different parameters to keep me accountable, so that way I'm not just mindlessly on social media, or just spending time, just having too much idle time, I guess you could say.
That is amazing. So I want to switch
I
gears
never thought about it
and
like that.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to switch gears and maybe make this a little fun. So, if you had to
Okay.
equate cybersecurity to a superhero, which one would it be and why? How do you think they would fare against
Okay. So
today's
I was really
cyber
excited when I read
villains?
this question because I'm like, oh, okay. There's like a lag between.
I know.
So
It's
like
okay.
you're paused. Can you hear me?
I'm paused.
Okay. Can you hear
Let
me?
me. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, there's like some kind of delay. So I don't mean to speak over you. It's just like a delay. But
That's
no, I was
fine.
really excited when I read this question because like I'm really into like Marvel and DC characters and stuff. So I would say cybersecurity is like the Flash. Like, are you familiar with the
Okay.
Flash?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it's so fast. I would say even technology is like the Flash, but I feel like that's a great like representation for you to kind of apply technology to kind of like everyday instances, I guess you could say. But yeah, I would definitely say it's like the Flash. The Flash, he's like always out there fighting some kind of crime or whatever. There's always some new villain popping up, and he's using his super speed to
Mm-hmm.
go, you know, save people or whatever. And I feel like that's really what it is. And there's a lot of cyber monitoring and cyber crimes on the TV show The Flash, and so I feel like that's the best representation of like a superhero and cybersecurity.
Wow, that is so
Yeah.
awesome. I like the Flash. I really do like the Flash. So you chose a good
Really? Okay, I do too.
superhero.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you are just so interesting. Like this episode could
Oh,
like
thank you.
extend for a long period of time. But in closing,
Oh my gosh. For real.
I want to know what do you see
Mhm.
cybersecurity in healthcare in the next 10 to 15 years?
So I would say it's really hard to gauge what the next 10 to 15 years is going to look like because technology is ever changing. Like whatever that regular people get access to, like when we're getting access to 5G network, well, it's been out for years.
Mm,
It's been out for way longer than when it was launched to the general public. So like they were
mm.
working on like 6G before 5G was even released.
Oh
And
wow.
like Johnny was working on that several years ago, like before the pandemic or right around the pandemic. Everybody was freaking out about 5G. Well, what people didn't know is 6G was already being tested and being used. And so it's ever changing. So it's really hard to kind of gauge where it's going to be in that far, like in that time frame. Because like, I mean, what was it? It has even been 20 years since YouTube has been out,
Mhm.
And you see how far that's gone and how that's
Mhm.
changed. And my daughter's asked me, she's like, did you have YouTube at this age? I'm like, girl, no, we didn't know what YouTube was. Like, we had to go and like LimeWire and like download some stuff,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
had to make these
definitely.
little bootleg CDs and stuff like that. We didn't have YouTube.
And Napster.
So Yeah, that right there. And just even the internet and Google. I mean, like we've seen Google come like from our lifetime. It's when I was like a child to now. Look how far it's grown. It's taken over so much, and Android has as well. So it's really kind of hard to gauge where it's going to be that far. But I can say where things are going in terms of like towards the general public is AI. I would say like it's really important for people to get kind of well versed in AI right now and learn more about it because it is taking over. And the thing about
Mm,
AI is that its intelligence, it we no longer have to teach it anything. It's learning on its own. So
mm,
AI learning is it's geared to mimic, human beings. And so it's always monitoring us. It's always like analyzing our voice inflections of how we would talk to normal people or how we would talk on the phone or how we converse with friends. And so it's always listening. And AI, people kind of think of like AI as a robot, but AI is Siri, AI is Alexa, AI is Hey Google, and I actually have all of those devices back here. But that is what AI is. you know, when you talk to your remote control and you're looking for like a show or something, that's AI. If you have any type of smart device that can talk to you, that's an AI machine. So we've been using AI for years, but it's just been disguised as, oh, it's Alexa, oh,
mm.
it's Siri, like, so it just looks like it just seems so friendly. But no, they're always listening and they are constantly developing to become more and more and more like us. So I would say that's going to be like the next, I say tech revolution, I guess you could say, um, would be the AI. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of what it is because it's already been there, but people are
Hmm.
becoming more aware about
Wow.
it.
Yeah, because I don't have all of those AI assistants, but I definitely use AI
hmm
in my business, and it's just like it helps so much. Like they're helping you, but
Yes.
you have to have like a sort of boundary to just like tell it to stop. And even I don't know if you've seen that movie Megan with
I haven't seen that one. My
the
daughter.
robot
hmm
girl, but she I don't want to give it away, but it's just like wow.
Right.
So
yeah.
thank you, Araya, for taking the time to share your knowledge and your passions with my audience. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
Um, that's a good question. I would just say, in anything that you do, in any profession that you are, and who's ever watching this, to just stay true to yourself, um, and be consistent. Consistency outweighs people with more experience and smart. Their own like people who are very knowledgeable. If you're consistent, that and you're loyal and you're dedicated, that will take you a lot further than sometimes education will or just knowing the right people will. I think just staying true to yourself and allowing the right opportunities to come to you versus going outside of yourself and chasing things. Just allow things to come to you. Yeah.
Wow. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be like friends
Oh, thank
after this.
you. I hope so.
So-
I love making friends.
friends are awesome. So thank you so much.
yes.
And this concludes the episode of Scrubs Unzipped, Unveiling Healthcare's Hidden Passions, where we unzip the story behind the scrubs. Thank you and tune in next time. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.